All right, let's call the Sparks City Council meeting for March 10th with a roll call.
Mayor Lawson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Bybee.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
City Attorney Duncan. Here. City Manager Louthan.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
And bear with us today. We have council persons Vanderwell and Bybee back in DC representing us with the National League of Cities. So thank you for being on the line. And let's go to our invocation. Pastor Kevin Solomon, are you here? Then it looks like Pastor Paul Anderson. Or Wes, which?
Okay, please join me. Lord God, we thank you for this amazing day. We thank you for being an amazing God that created the heavens and earth and everything in them, and yet you care about us individually. And Lord, we just pray for the well-being of our city, the well-being of our first responders, and all of the citizens. We pray that you'll give us the wisdom we need this day as we decide which direction the city should go on different items. We just pray, Father, for your blessings. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And Mr. Rodriguez, will you lead us in the pledge?
The pressure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's no comma, Donald. All right, public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
We did not receive any public comment, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone in the public wishing to comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the agenda. Looking for an approval of the agenda. Let me, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agenda as submitted with item 7.6 being heard after 9.1.
And Mr. Rodriguez. Second. Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. On the phone?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
We got 3 ayes out of 2. We're in good shape. Okay. All right, minutes. I'm looking for approval of the minutes. Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council meeting meeting for February 24th, 2025.
Mr. Anderson.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. On the phone?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. All right, pardon me, 7.1. It's the City of Sparks' 120th birthday, and we don't look a day over 119. We have a video for this.
Did you know that on March 15, 2025, Sparks will be 120 years old? To celebrate, we thought it would be fun to give you some interesting facts about Sparks. Did you know that Sparks was named after Governor John Sparks? Did you know the city was originally referred to as East Reno, but we prefer calling Reno West Sparks? First election in Sparks was held on May 2nd, 1905, and William E. Dalton was selected the first mayor. I'm honored to be the 26th mayor of Sparks.
Did you know that around the time the city was incorporated, it was outlawed to sit in a buggy drinking drinks outside a saloon? Did you know it was also illegal to drive your camel on the highway? How about bed sheets used in a hotel having to be 98 inches long? And did you also know that to make it legal for bar owners to sell beer, they must have also been simultaneously boiling up some soup? And did you know that in 1919, J.H. Daley was the first elected Sparks City attorney in the city of Sparks? I'm proud to be your 17th city attorney in the city of Sparks.
Did you know that there may not be another city in the land that came to life in quite the unique way that Sparks did? It's a custom-made town, tailor-ordered by the Southern Pacific Railroad. When they decided to move all their operations from Wadsworth, the company offered employees lots 30 miles east for just $1. Then, Southern Pacific picked up the houses, the people, the trees, the plants, and even the chickens, put them on flatbeds, and moved the entire operation 30 miles west, and Sparks, the rail city, was born. A couple of other fun facts. Did you know that the Glendale Schoolhouse is the oldest remaining school building in Nevada and was moved to Victorian Square in 1976? Did you know that 1958 to 2014, Last Chance Joe proudly stood in front of the Nugget on Victorian? He was moved to the Sparks Heritage Museum in 2014 and restored in 2018.
Did you know that there was once an airport right here in Sparks? The Sparks Air Park was on the outskirts of Sparks. Beginning operations in the 1930s, it was used by local ranchers until the beginning of World War II. During the war, the facility was used for flight training of Navy and Army pilots. Eventually, the city grew and the airport was closed and built over. The area with the hangars is now the Greenbrae Shopping Center. Some of the hangars still exist as shops. Another fun fact, do you know that Deer Park Pool opened on Memorial Day in 1942 with celebrations that included bathing beauty and pie eating contests and competitions for the homeliest man, the handsomest man, the person with the most freckles, and the woman with the most children?
Did you know the Sparks Marina used to be the Helms Pit, a giant quarry used for construction material from 1968 to 1995? The city of Sparks acquired the land with plans to fill it with water and turn it into a park. The New Year's Day flood of 1997 sped up the process. The marina now holds about 1 billion gallons of water. It's fed by a natural ground aquifer to prevent overflow. Roughly 3 million gallons of water is pumped out into the Truckee River every day. And did you know there's an F-4 military jet at the bottom of the marina? It was intentionally submerged to create a unique feature for our scuba divers. Have you ever wondered where the sandy beaches at the marina came from? 131 truckloads of sand were brought in from Lake Tahoe.
Did you know that in 1917, the Sparks Fire Department received the first piece of motorized equipment? Did you know that the hottest temperature officially recorded in Sparks was 108 degrees in July of 2002 and 2007, and the coldest day recorded was minus 17 degrees in January 1916? Did you know that the Sparks Heritage Museum on Victorian Avenue was built by architect Frederick de Longchamp in 1931? It was formerly the Sparks Public Library, where I used to go as a little girl, then the Sparks Justice Court building, and in 1985 became the home to the museum. And did you know that the Sparks Complex at Golden Eagle Regional Park opened in 2008 and draws more than 1 million participants and spectators every year? It has 1.4 million square feet of artificial turf, the largest single installation of artificial turf in America, and generates more than $30 million in economic impact each year.
Did you know the citizens of Sparks came together and raised funds to purchase war bonds to support the war effort during World War II? 6,200 Sparks residents raised $600,000, equivalent to over $12 million now. A B-25 bomber was named the Spirit of Sparks by the Boeing Company to recognize the city's contribution to the war effort. The bomber and her crew were assigned to the 321st Bomber Squadron and successfully flew over 150 missions. Also to support the war effort, on Labor Day, September 4th, 1944, for a part of a 3-day Sparks 40th anniversary celebration, a Lescarino beard growing contest was held. A $25 war bond was presented to the man who had grown the fullest and longest beard.
And did you know what the collective people from Sparks are called?
Sparklers?
Sparkles?
Sparkies?
Sparkanians?
Sparkites?
Sparkles?
People of Sparks?
Nope, we're just called plain lucky.
Happy birthday, Sparks!
Well done, Julie. Thank you. Okay. 7.2, Professional Land Surveyors Week. Do we have anyone here for that proclamation? Not, then Mr. Rodriguez, I believe you have the proclamation to read into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City of Sparks proclamation. Whereas the historic profession of surveying has provided answers to questions of land boundaries determination since the earliest days of civilization. And whereas surveyors were instrumental in creating property boundaries of the United States, providing its citizens enjoyment and privileges of property ownership. And whereas professional land surveyors are uniquely qualified to locate on the ground what is expressed in the words in legal documents defining property boundaries. And whereas land surveyors work with other dedicated professionals to provide the best possible solutions to modern-day problems that serve the interests of the public. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Lawson, the Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim March 16th through the 22nd, 2025 as Professional Land Surveyors Week.
Thank you. Okay, Nevada Reading Month. Do we have anyone here for that? Come on down. Have a seat. We'll read the proclamation, then we'll have you say a few words afterwards. Mr. Abbott.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Whereas the importance of reading and literacy in shaping young minds and fostering lifelong learning cannot be overstated. And whereas the state of Nevada recognizes that reading is fundamental to academic success and personal growth, and that fostering a love for books and reading can empower individuals to thrive in a rapidly changing world. And whereas the goal of Nevada Reading Month is to encourage children and adults to make reading a regular and rewarding part of their lives. And whereas Nevada Reading Month provides an opportunity to celebrate the joy and value of readings and to highlight the many resources that promote literacy throughout our state. And whereas local schools, libraries, and community organizations across Nevada come together to participate in activities that inspire students to read more, learn more, and share their love of books with others. Now, therefore, I, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Nevada Reading Month.
Go ahead and give us your name for the record and say a few words.
My name is Carrie Stendell. I'm the librarian and interim branch manager at the Sparks Library, and we appreciate the proclamation. And I know our staff has done a lot of outreach for Nevada Reading Week to a lot of elementary, middle, and high schools in the area, and we're happy to be here.
And I'm Jeff Scott, Library Director for the Washoe County Library System. So we're happy that we can go all throughout Washoe County to provide reading opportunities for kids, especially during Nevada Reading Week, Color Our World. We reached out to thousands of kids throughout the district, and we're happy that we're able to provide that service to our public, get kids reading, not because it's important for their future, but also that it's fun.
Good. Thank you for being here. I'm going to ask you to come over here and we'll have your picture taken with Councilman Abbott so the millions of people watching us on YouTube can see.
Hold open, smile. Go. Perfect. Let's go.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you, guys.
I'm glad I read that perfectly too. I was really nervous. So there's some bad confirmation
That's precisely why I gave it to you.
I know. I got my library card in my back pocket. That's paid today.
All right, let's go on to 7-4 Social Workers Month. Do we have anyone here to for this proclamation? Okay. Will you read it in the record for us, Mr. Anderson?
Yes, sir. Whereas social workers enter the profession because they have a strong desire to empower individuals, families, and communities to overcome issues that prevent them from reaching their full potential. And whereas social workers positively touch the lives of millions of Americans each day in a variety of places, including schools, hospitals, the military, child welfare agencies, community centers, and federal, state, and local government. And whereas in 2025, Social Work Month theme was Social Work Compassion Plus Action, emphasizes the dedication of social workers who, through extensive education, training, transform their compassion into actionable solutions to address societal challenges. It's also a highlight to the importance of self-care among social workers, ensuring they maintain their well-being to effectively support others. whereas social workers are the largest group of mental health care providers in the United States, working daily to help thousands of Americans overcome mental illness such as depression and anxiety. Whereas social workers are on the front line of the nation's opioid addiction crisis, helping people get the treatment they need and prevail over substance use disorders. And whereas social workers help people cope with grief and help people and communities recover from natural disasters that are increasingly fueled by climate change, including hurricanes, drought, wildfires, and flooding. And whereas social workers advocate for equal rights for all, including but not limited to people of color, people who are indigenous, people who are LGBTQIA+, and people who follow various faiths. And whereas social work profession is one of the fastest growing career fields in the United States, with about 708,000 social workers today and more than 60,000 more social workers expected to enter the profession over the next decade. Whereas social workers have consistently advocated for changes that improve our society, including livable wages, enhanced workplace safety, social safety net programs, and help alleviate poverty, hunger, and homelessness. And whereas social workers endeavor to work throughout our society to meet people where they are and empower people to reach the goals they wish to attain. Therefore, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Social Work Month.
All right. Let's move on to Mr. Manager. You have Boards of Commission vacancy.
Thank you, Mayor. There are 2 vacancies on the Sparks Building Code Board of Appeals, each for 2-year terms. The vacancies are for registered architects or builder superintendent of building construction. Each must have at least 10 years of experience, 5 years being responsible charge of work. Applications will be accepted until Thursday, March 13th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Consent items. Anyone should pull a consent item? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Come on. Only 3 of us here. Did we freeze up? Mr. Rodriguez.
Move to approve agenda item 8.01 as submitted.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote on the phone.
Aye.
Did I get a dual aye? I think I heard Diane said. Charlene, did you have a vote?
Yep, I voted right before her.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on to general business. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an employment agreement AC 6097 between the City of Sparks and Shauna Halterman as Human Resources Director, providing for an annual salary of $140,004.80. I'm glad you held out for that 80 cents, Shauna.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson and City Council members. For the record, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. I am very pleased to present to you today the employment agreement between the City of Sparks and Shauna Halterman as our Human Resources Director. Ms. Halterman comes to the city with many years of experience in human resources and other areas of municipal government. She was the top candidate after an extensive and competitive recruitment process with over 40 applicants. The proposed employment agreement includes the following key terms: an annual salary of approximately $140,000 a year, a performance incentive up to $10,000 each year based on her performance, deferred compensation matching, PERS contributions, insurance premiums, and annual sick and personal leave allotment. We are thrilled to have Ms. Halterman on board, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council. Let's start with the phone first. You guys have any questions?
No. I real quick wanted to make a comment, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say how pleased I am after going through a very thorough process could not be happier to be hiring Shauna for this position. I think she brings incredible background and knowledge. I think her judgment and just how I've just been impressed with her through the whole process. Looking forward to having her come on board and be part of our team.
Okay. Anyone at the dais? Nope. Okay. Well, thank you. With any further questions? If not, I am looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve the employment agreement AC 6097 between the City of Sparks and Shauna Halterman as Human Resources Director, providing for an annual salary of $140,004.80 plus benefits.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote on the phone.
Aye. I think
Motion.
we did at the same time. Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right. Well, now, Shauna, we get to do 7.6. Come on down. You're going to take the oath of office and read it to me, hopefully.
Like right here? I'm like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't sure you're smiling.
Constant.
Photo bomber.
Solemnly swear that I will support,
solemnly swear that I will
protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States, Constitution and government of Nevada, all enemies, whether domestic or foreign, that I will bear true faith, allegiance, loyalty, any ordinance, resolution, or law, any state notwithstanding, and that I will well and faithfully perform all the duties of Human Resources Director, City of Sparks, County of Washoe, State of Nevada, which I am about to tell me. If you want to say something, say something. If not,
I'll keep it brief. I am very excited to be here and looking forward to serving the council, our employees, and the entire community of Sparks. It's a great city, and I'm pleased to be making it my new home. Thank you so much.
thank you, Sean. Anything from the dais or the phone? Welcome aboard.
Welcome, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to 9.2. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a street and highway interlocal cooperative agreement, AC 6099, with the Regional Transportation Commission and the Washoe County and their FY 2026 programs and projects. Mr. Drinkwater.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Michael Drinkwater, excuse me, your Community Services Director. I am pinch hitting for our city engineer, Ms. Sosa. She's on a family trip in Las Vegas, but fear not, I can get us through this even though I'm a wastewater guy. You have before you today our interlocal agreement with the RTC Streets and Highways Project. I remind you, this is something that we do every year to help facilitate our conversations with the RTC to determine which projects are going to get built and then actually getting them built. So just a quick trip through the process. Keep in mind the RTP, the Regional Transportation Plan, is our 20-year look ahead, which feeds into the Regional Transportation Improvement Program, the 5-year, if you will, look at where we need to go with our transportation infrastructure, which then feeds into the Street Highway Program. That's where we are today, this agreement before you today. And then that will ultimately feed into individual projects for design and construction. This is how the RTC must evaluate projects based on these criteria. You see before you, but what's in the plan and relative to the need for the project, how much funding is available, and then this flows through the Board of County Commissioners to the cities, and the cities authorize the RTC to perform the work. So as you might expect, Washoe County Board of County Commissioners, as well as the Reno City Council, is hearing a substantially similar presentation from their staff is what you're hearing right now. So what's new? FY26, I've got a screenshot up here. I got some 4 projects over in Reno. We got 2 in Sparks. We're going to zero in on the Sparks projects here in a moment. Don't you worry. Please keep in mind that anything that was approved in prior years is still underway. They were not rejected in favor of these. These are just the next year's additions to the program. And as you can see, we have 2 in the city of Sparks. The first is the Highland Ranch, widening project. This will go from Sun Valley Boulevard to Five Ridges Parkway. Just as a reminder, the section from Five Ridges Parkway to Pyramid Highway is going to be done as a part of the development agreement with the Five Ridges project. So ultimately, Highland Ranch Parkway will be complete 4 lanes from Sun Valley all the way to Pyramid Highway. It's expected, design is expected to go next year with construction in 2028. And we do expect that the easternmost section from Five Ridges to Pyramid Highway will be done in advance of this work. The other project we have in the city of Sparks is the Wedekind Road pedestrian improvements. This is an important project as there are a number of high school students who use Wedekind Road as a conveyance to and from Hug High School. So this is safety and accessibility improvements, again, for design in 26, for construction in 27. In addition to the construction projects, we have the annual region-wide projects. We have the pavement preservation. Please keep in mind the $22.5 million on the screen. That is the regional budget. That is not the Sparks-specific budget, as much as we would like that. These projects are determined based upon the pavement preservation group. We and your staff represent you on that committee to help guide which projects are going to be completed in any given year. Similarly, traffic and intelligent transportation systems, $10 million budget, again, for the region. And similarly, staff represents Sparks on the committee that helps determine which projects are going to be done so that we ensure that our needs here are met. And finally, this is a new one, the Active Transportation Program. What is that? That's multimodal projects such as pedestrian plus bike lane plus vehicles. And similarly, $5 million budget this coming year for the region. And we also represent, Sparks is represented by staff on this committee as well to help guide which projects make it ultimately to construction. So currently, the RTC has 60 active projects, including 20 in construction this calendar year. Some 2024 highlights, just keep in mind the Audie Wells project. You know, we had the opening last fall. The I-580 exit, and the other 2 are in South Reno, or south part of the valley, but nonetheless important for the conveyance of the citizens in and around the valley. Similarly, the pavement preservation program, 12 million square feet of roads were repaved regionally. I'm going to show you some in our community here in just a moment. Skipping, now we're on the Spark specific stuff. Here are some of our highlights from last year. The Stanford Way, excuse me, I'm tongue-tied, but the preventative maintenance program on Stanford Way, the signals that were installed on Prater and 4th, this one right out here, we all remember that project. We also had, as I just mentioned moments ago, the Audie Wells multimodal improvements, if you've been on Audie. Not mentioned here, but I do want to highlight that there are 10 really awesome signal boxes in the Audie Wells corridor with some fantastic artwork on them. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And finally, the Pyramid Highway Intelligent Corridor, which helps moving traffic more effectively through that particularly highly used part of our transportation system. So there we go, 2025. These are the projects in our area, in our city, that are moving to construction in this coming year. Highlight a couple of them. The Legends Roundabout, that's just to get people in and out of that particular area. It's highly congested if you do drive in. And this is the one off of Sparks Boulevard. Similar skipping, just, you can read them, of course, yourself. But the Sparks Boulevard capacity improvement, huge project that we know it's going to be a little bumpy while it's under construction, but it's going to make life a lot better for us when it's done. So we're just going to, bite the bullet and get through it. And similarly, a number of projects that are helping to make our traffic signals, well, I wouldn't call them intelligent, but more coordinated, so they work better together. So that's traffic signal modifications at Rock and York, similarly Vista Boulevard and Prater Way, and then some improvements. The Vista Boulevard and Disk Drive improvements are adding some lanes, some turning movements to help move traffic more efficiently. So, as I said, this agreement is simply an agreement that allows your staff to work cooperatively with the RTC staff to help move these projects along from conception through construction. If you have detailed questions, Mr. Dale Keller, the RTC Assistant Executive Director and Engineering Manager is sitting behind me, who can probably do a better job talking about the RTC side of this if you would like. Happy to answer any questions, sir.
Mr. Abbott.
I do have one back on the Highland Ranch Parkway.
Yes, sir.
And so I think you said it that I know they have their SID up there to widen from Five Ridges down to Pyramid.
Yes, sir.
And that one, I heard there's cones up there already. Do we know if that's currently happening?
There is
that widening, I guess that widening project.
I know there's some preliminary work going there. They do anticipate some work this coming summer on the intersection of Five Ridges and Highland Ranch. And I don't know if, and I'm sorry, I apologize for that, but I don't know if the widening is happening concurrently.
Gotcha.
So there is some work happening right now. And we are anticipating some work very soon. And Mr. Martini is going to help bail me out right now.
Sorry for the curveball.
As you stutter around down there.
Councilman Abbott, John Martini, your Assistant City Manager for the record. The cones you see up right now, they're putting in the waterline loop from Sun Valley GID's water system down to the entrance. That was a piece they need to get done before they can start the roadway. And by agreement, the Highland Ranch improvements from Five Ridges Parkway down to Pyramid, including the Pyramid Highland Ranch intersection, should start this summer.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone here? Paul?
Just have a question on the timing for the Sparks Boulevard capacity improvements.
Yes, sir.
When is that expected to start and about how long is that expected to go?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm getting the, send me the left-hander. I'm gonna toss that one to Mr. Director Keller, who is most definitely has a better understanding of that project schedule.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. Dale Keller, Deputy Executive Director at the RTC. Answer your question, we are ready to go out to bid here in April. We anticipate starting construction probably in June, July timeframe. We do anticipate this project is going to last about 2 years. We're hoping to get it done in 2 construction seasons, but it could bleed into a 3rd construction season.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? Anyone on the phone have a question?
No. No, thank you.
Actually, I got
Mr. Abbott.
Sorry, one more. On the Sparks Boulevard, I know NDOT is looking to redo Pyramid from Nugget Avenue up to, I think, Greenbrae or York. Is that timing going to be the same as Sparks Boulevard timing? I know they're starting, I think, next year. I just was curious.
So, Councilmember
Southpaw.
Yep, I'm going to turf it.
I am left-handed too, by the way. Councilmember Abbott, yes, we're coordinating with NDOT, understanding where their project comes out and what coordination needs to happen. I know one thing is they're looking at possible night work. So anything that we do put out in the street, we know Sparks Boulevard will most likely be under construction at that time. So we're coordinating closely with NDOT and also with Ms. Sosa to understand we don't want to impact both parallel corridors at the same time and making sure traffic still flows. So that's definitely high on our radar, and we'll make sure that that coordination occurs and we don't have overlapping construction zones.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, then I am looking for a motion. Mr. Rodriguez.
I move to approve the Street and Highway Interlocal Cooperative Agreement AC-6099 with the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County for fiscal year 2026 programs and projects.
Mr. Anderson.
Second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. On the phone, please.
Aye.
And motion carries unanimously. Thanks, sir. Thanks, Dale. And Michael. You're with, yeah. We could add a few more testimonies there. 9.3, consideration, discussion, of possible approval of a construction contract AC 6098 with Ryman Brothers Construction, Inc. in the amount of $362,791 for the Fire Station Number 1, third floor bathroom remodel and washer dryer gear turnout renovation project. Bid number 24/25-011, BWP #WA 2025-153.
He closed it out on her. Sorry. On the rookie.
Yeah. What you get when you put the boss up there, right?
She's amazing. Thank you, Dow. Thank you, Dow. Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, all council members, everyone here today. For the record, I am Paula Owens, Capital Projects Coordinator for the City of Sparks. I am here today to present the Fire Station Number 1, third floor bathroom remodel and washer dryer gear turnout renovation project. As you can see on the map, the project is located at Fire Station Number 1 on the southwest corner of Victorian Avenue and 16th Street, east of Rock Boulevard. Fire Station Number 1 was constructed in 1982. It has 3 floors and a basement. It houses firefighters and administrative staff with offices, a kitchen, dining room, restrooms, and dorms for all shifts. With an increase in female firefighters, the current third floor living layout has usable space that allows for the construction of additional restrooms and showers. The first floor laundry room holds aging equipment that has not been able to keep up with the number of battalions at this station. Therefore, new equipment is necessary to clean and disinfect gear after all emergency calls. There is usable space within this laundry room to expand from a single set of washers and dryers to 2 sets of equipment. This project includes the demolition of 1 restroom and a dorm room, to construct 3 new restrooms, the demolition and renovation of the laundry room, installation of new gear turnout equipment, water heaters, and the necessary upgrades to the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. 5 bids were received for this project, with the lowest responsive bid being Raymond Brothers Construction in the amount of $362,791. Therefore, staff recommend award of this contract to Raymond Brothers Construction. That's the end of my presentation. I will take any questions if there are any.
Questions from the council? Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm assuming you said for like the extractors for the bunker gear that needs to be washed and cleaned after a fire.
Mm-hmm.
So while this is happening, do they have means to clean their gear at other stations?
Yes, actually, we have made arrangements with the fire staff. We will be going to other site location for that. They'll go to one of the other stations.
Thank
and
you.
at no time will they be down.
Thank you.
Anyone else? On the phone, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. With that, then I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
I moved, excuse me. I moved to approve a construction contract AC-6098 with Raymond Brothers Construction, Inc. in the amount of $362,791 for the Fire Station Number 1, third floor bathroom remodel and washer dryer gear turnout renovation project, bid number 24/25-011, PWP WA-2025-153.
Mr. Rodriguez.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. On the phone, please.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. 9.4, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of addendum number 5 to the joint ownership and water operation agreement for the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility A-734 to include Reno staff supporting capital improvements at the facility in the ownership cost share for a fiscal year 2026 estimated cost $617,474, with Spark share being $193,702. Mr. Metzger.
All
All right, well, good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and members of council. For the record, Casey Menser, Treatment Plant Manager at the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. So this item before you looks to add an amendment to the 1980 interlocal agreement between the City of Reno and Sparks that outline, and that originally 1980 agreement outlines the roles and responsibility of each city as it relates to TUMWRF. Effectively, it's the agreement that states that Sparks manages the operation and Reno manages the capital improvement program, or the CIP. Now, while Sparks reimburses Reno for our portion of the capital improvement program, those being like the big engineering and the big construction projects, the original agreement does not contemplate the reimbursement of staff time dedicated to manage the actual CIP. And so what this amendment seeks to do is to have the City of Reno positions that are dedicated to the TUMWRF CIP, that being a complement of 3 full-time employees, but to have those positions reimbursed by the ownership cost share. An important note is that if there were to be any change to that complement, those 3 full-time engineers that manage the CIP, if any request was made to change that complement number, either up or down, it would have to be approved formally by the Joint Coordinating Committee. This item was recommended by the Joint Coordinating Committee, and it has passed the Reno City Council. With that, I'm happy to answer any and all questions.
All right, questions from the council? On the phone, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, then I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve addendum number 5 with the City of Reno to joint ownership and operation agreement for the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility to include Reno staff supporting capital improvements at the facility in the ownership cost share for the fiscal year 2026. Estimated cost of $617,474, with the Spark share being $193,702.
Yeah, I'm afraid they.
Holy cow.
I'm afraid they'd want a correction on that.
Yeah.
You didn't read that reading book.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? On the phone, please vote.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. All right, 9.5, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of resolution number 3457, amending the interlocal agreement A2923 between the City of Reno and the City of Sparks for natural resources position, which handles legal matters related to the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility by amending the cost share percentage to the position's total salary paid by the City of Sparks and the City of Reno, together with matters which pertain to or are necessary connected thereto. Did you write that?
I did not.
Go ahead, Casey.
All right. Well, again, for the record, Casey Menser, Treatment Plant Manager of the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. So this item before you is to amend a 2003 interlocal agreement between the City of Reno and Sparks. That original agreement was put in place to establish the cost sharing for this natural resources position, which is, it's really just effectively a deputy city attorney that is employed and managed by the City of Reno. And that position is was created or established to deal with all of the legal matters related to TUMWRF. Reno recently evaluated the utilization of this position and determined that only about 35% of that position's time is actually dedicated to TUMWRF matters. And so what this revised agreement looks to do is to reduce the reimbursement from Sparks to more appropriately match that position's time utilization. So it's looking to have the City of Sparks reimburse for only that portion of time that's dedicated solely to TUMWRF matters, which is about 35% of the position instead of the entire position as it is currently. This was recommended by the Joint Coordinating Committee and has already passed the City of Reno City Council. I will say this will have a positive impact on the sewer fund of approximately $70,000 for this first year. So with that, I'm happy to answer any and all questions.
All right, questions from the council? Questions from the phone?
No. No, thank you.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion then. Thanks for the Joint the JCC for finding these to talk about. Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve resolution number 3457, amending the interlocal agreement A-2923 between the City of Reno and the City of Sparks for Natural Resources Position, which handles legal matters related to the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility by amending the cost share percent of the position's total salary paid by the City of Sparks to the City of Reno, together with matters which pertain to or are necessary connected thereto.
Mr. Rodriguez. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote on the phone.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Casey. We have no public hearing and action items. Planning and zoning, we have a second reading. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the second reading of Bill number 2830, an ordinance amending Sparks Municipal Code Section 20.02.013 to allow the manufactured home dealers use in an expanded number of zoning districts.
Ms. Reed.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson, members of the City Council. In just a moment while I get this. Okay. So for your consideration this afternoon is an amendment to the Sparks Municipal Code that would allow manufactured home dealers to operate in an expanded number of zoning districts. You'll remember that this item was initially brought up in October of 2024. And so we're bringing forward a code amendment to initiate changes, modifying regulations that govern manufactured home dealers based on your October 2024 direction. Currently, the Sparks Municipal Code allows the manufactured home dealer use to operate in just one zoning district with an approved CUP or conditional use permit. That's our C2 or general commercial zone. The use for the manufactured home dealer was actually added to our zoning code in 2015. Prior to that, it wasn't a permitted use. And currently in the City of Sparks, there are 255 acres that are zoned C2. That figure includes both built and vacant lands where a manufactured home dealer could potentially locate. As proposed, the code amendment, but for your consideration, would allow the manufactured home dealer use to operate in the PO and C1 zoning districts with an approved conditional use permit or CUP. The use would remain permitted in our C2 zone, also with an approved conditional use permit. Ultimately, if approved, this code amendment would provide for an additional 100 acres of land where a manufactured home dealer could potentially locate. The proposed code changes before you this afternoon do align with other auto-oriented uses that are currently permitted in the PO and C1 zoning districts. So for instance, both gas stations and car washes are permitted in those zones with an approved CUP. Take a look at those uses a little bit further. Staff did conduct a trip generation analysis for those uses in comparison to a manufactured home dealer. And here we needed to use as a proxy an auto sales use. That's because the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation manual doesn't have a use specific to a manufactured home dealer. And what we ultimately found was that gas stations generate more trips than an auto sales use, and car washes generate about the same. So staff found, and the Planning Commission did agree, that allowing the manufactured home dealer use to operate with an approved CUP in our PO and C1 zones would be consistent with our overall current permitting requirements in code for other auto-oriented uses. And as you're certainly familiar, the CUP procedure does allow for the Planning Commission to consider in a public hearing the request, really take a look at what could be those potential impacts to surrounding properties, provide for conditions that can mitigate those impacts, and certainly through the noticed public hearing, individuals within 500 feet of the property can come and provide public comment. So ultimately, the Planning Commission did forward a recommendation of approval for the proposed amendment to Council on January 16th of this year. And you do have a motion to that effect on the slide and also in your packets. Happy to answer any questions that you might have on this item.
Okay, questions from the council? Mr. Anderson.
Sienna, I think there's been some confusion with the public on this item. could you do me a favor and kind of define the different types of homes, whether it's what I would refer to as like stick-built versus manufactured versus a mobile home? If you could kind of define where this would be applicable.
So thank you, Councilmember Anderson. So as proposed, the code amendment would allow for a manufactured home dealer use. So that home dealer use, if it were ultimately established, it would allow for different manufactured home products to be offered for sale on the site. And what might those manufactured home products be? A manufactured home, in its very broadest definition, is a factory-built home. So it's not built on-site as we would consider with a stick-built home built to international building code standards. Interesting. Okay. Let's see if it resolves here in a minute.
You just got to hit it.
Chief, if you could just stand there and hold it.
Ask him if he knows its rights.
There we go. When all else fails,
Made it all the way till the end of the agenda, practically. All right, so to start back up, I believe I was saying that a manufactured home dealer would not be selling stick-built homes. Those would be built on site to the International Building Code standard. Homes that would potentially be for sale would be manufactured off-site in a factory. Most typically, they would be built to the Department of Housing and Urban Development standards. So those of you on the council might be familiar with those homes being delivered to the site and inspected by the Nevada Housing Division. They would not be inspected by our City of Sparks building inspectors. So those are the differences between the manufactured and the stick-built. There are also modular homes that are built to building code standards but constructed off-site. That is something that by state law is more in line with a stick-built home because it meets the International Building Code standards. And the term mobile home, I know that was mentioned. That's something that we don't necessarily have in parlance today. Everything is referred to as a manufactured home.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? I mean, the way I understand this is basically they're parking them on a lot to sell like a model home, like a car. So you're not actually going to live in it on that particular space. It's going to be moved to another location.
That is certainly my understanding too, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Rodriguez, did you have something?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I have a little bit of kind of like it's more of like a jurisdictional question. So these homes are being inspected by the state. What gives them the jurisdiction to inspect them over our city, I guess?
Well, as it relates to the code amendment, the manufactured homes would just be for sale on the subject site. Once those homes are ultimately sold and located on a new particular piece of property, then those homes would be inspected by the Nevada Housing Division. That's based on ultimately federal and state law.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone on the phone? Do you guys have anything?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank staff for working to get this up to this level because this has been a lot of work too that we have been trying to figure out what to do with. So I appreciate all the hard work of staff and also the commissioner.
Okay. Ms. Bybee, do you have anything?
I do not, thank you.
Okay. Well, with that, this is a public hearing. I'm going to open it up to the public. Anyone in the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais, and I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to adopt Bill number 2830 to amend Section 20.02.013 for the Sparks Municipal Code to allow the manufactured home dealers use in an expanded number of zoning districts.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. On the phone, please vote.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Let's move on to 12.1, public from the comment. I've got this disease has moved over one chair.
You didn't read our proclamation either.
Comments from the public. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
No, we do not, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone in the public wishing to comment at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. I'm looking for, you have a thing, Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to publicly welcome Shauna to the team. We're very excited to have her on Team Sparks and look forward to all the great things she's going to do. But we're excited to have you here and look forward to the next chapter. Thank you, Mayor.
Anyone from the dais? Mr. St. Baldrick?
I'll take that. That's a good title. Speaking of St. Baldrick's, that's what I want to talk about, is the City of Sparks had an amazing participation of 7 of us that shaved our heads. We beat the City of West Sparks by $2,000, as well as we had 5 more participants than they did. Obviously, Councilman Anderson and myself shaved our head. We had Mr. Baxter, who, if he's watching, has not shaved his head, but I'm going to make sure he does.
You're going to do it for him?
Yeah, I'll make sure he does. And then Jess Stewart, code enforcement Stewart, if you guys have seen him, he does not look the same by no means. He shaved his mustache too. And then Andrew Beaver, one of our mechanics, and then J.R. Stewart, resident of Sparks, and Shane McCartan. So we had a great turnout. We had fun Friday. It's a great time. And the best part,
How much money?
we raised $5,400 and they raised about $3,400.
Goes to a great cause.
Yep. And at the end of the day, the kids, obviously we have a competition, but we won. But really the kids are the ones that are.
Say that again.
Kids win.
The kids win. Yeah, but we won too.
All right,
that's
anyone
it.
else on the council have anything? How about on the phone? Do you guys have anything?
Yes, I do, Mr.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Vanderwell.
Hey, sorry we're not there, but back here in DC, we are heading to the Hill tomorrow morning. We have breakfast with some of our congressional delegation tomorrow. There are 2,500 delegates all around the country, and today we had a couple really good speakers. We heard from Lee Zeldin, who is the new EPA director, and then for our afternoon, we had Vice President J.D. Vance. So it's been a great time and connecting and networking with not just Nevada, big cities, but all around the country. So hoping to represent you all well.
Thank you. Ms. Vanderwell, you had something?
No, Mr. Mayor, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, we're up to my favorite subject. We're adjourned.